Sports Show. Time to turn our attention to the Southern Footy League, of course. Diggers Day weekend, lots happening, lots coming up with the Southern Footy League. As always, the Prez, Craig Warman, joins us. Craig, how are you, mate?
Good to be here.
All right, let's talk about Diggers Day because it was an absolute ripper. We'll get to the game in a minute, but we know the jumpers are auctioned off afterwards. How much?
Mate, they did very, very well. $10,500 for the auction after the game. So all goes to RSL Legacy. So a good day.
Was a good day. Now, mate, it was, Flaggy's got them in the end by a big margin, but it was only a 10-point game at three-quarter time.
Yeah, it was. If more Vale had taken their opportunities, they would have been right in it. But as we said, don't count the Flaggies out. They came good with a terrific last quarter and got the chocolates in the end.
I went to watch Happy Valley on the weekend, mate. I took your advice and I popped my head around the corner and had a look at Happy Valley play Noarlunga, and they were impressive. I must admit, they played really well. They were not so much in full control for the first half, but after that they dominated the game. They're going to be a reasonable side this year, no problem, no worries at all.
Oh, no doubt about that. They come with big raps. They've recruited well. They had a good back end of last season as well. So a lot of youngsters in that particular side too. So they'll be in the top four. Don't worry about that.
In tricky conditions too, because they had there was a breeze blowing, which was
easterly.
Yeah, it just sort of blew my wig off when I was over on the west end side of the ground there at one stage. But it was tricky. But they played it really well.
Well, they should have.
It's their ground.
At their ground,
yeah, sure. But, you know, I mean, you still got to execute, don't you? And I thought they did it way better than Noarlunga did, put it that way.
Yeah, well, and again, we know Noarlunga are coming off that COVID bye that was forced on them as well. So they've only played probably 2 games now in 5 weeks.
Mate, I'll tell you what was good was the crowd. I was surprised how big the crowd was at that game. How, you know, I mean, I didn't drive the car in because I can wander around that area, but it was unbelievable. The crowd was unbelievable.
So it was the same at North Vale. We had probably 2,000 people there.
Oh no, it was a great crowd.
Really great day.
Just quickly though, saying that on the game, they finished up winning by 55 points, Happy Valley. But scoring shots, because you've talked about this, it's been on this for a while on bike. 20 scoring shots to 19.
Exactly.
So it was just better understanding the conditions.
They executed better. They executed better. Simple as that. But they did play better, I thought. They always looked in control of the game. But all I was saying was that the reason that score was the way it was is Happy Valley executed better around the goal.
We'll get to the big game in a minute, Ranella, but let's talk about Aldinga and Port Noarlunga, because that was probably the game of the round as far as the scores went. Were you surprised, Aldinga 12-point winners?
No, not really. Picked Aldinga to win the game. Porties have been struggling pre-season, but in saying that, it was a good close game in the end. So Aldinga get up for their first win of the season. So they're pretty happy down there.
Big win from Ranella, huge win over Christie's.
Billy's all smiles at the moment with a big 80-point win. The disappointing part for that was Christie's Beach. They have been really good previous to that, but I don't know what happened last week, but we're just a thumping, really.
That can happen. All right, let's have a look at the games coming up this weekend, mate, because there are some beauties. Let's go with Christie's Beach, because we've just touched on them, up against Aldinga. So 8v6. Aldinga, I reckon, are going to, and Christie's Beach, both going to bounce back in this one.
Well, certainly, Aldinga will be on a high. Yep. Christie's need this one to get back in the fight, so to speak.
And it often happens, though, doesn't it? You know, it doesn't matter what level you play at. You get that big loss, and suddenly you come back with a whole different attitude into the game. So I know Aldinga win last week, but I reckon Christie's will be a different team this weekend.
And back at home as well, with the faithful crowd there as well. So, I would expect Christie's to win that one in what will be now a pretty tight game.
You think Christie's Beach will beat Aldinga after the weekends?
Yep. They've got a few people coming back from injury as well.
Okay.
That have missed the first couple of rounds, but Christie's at home are always a hard proposition.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm happy with that, mate. What about now the big one, the real big one? The serious one. It's the Valley versus the Cobras. That's the game. That's the game.
You're right because it is the Tribe FM match of the day on the radio.
There you go
for Saturday. Cove sitting pretty, had 2 wins and a bye. So they'll go in pretty confident. Happy Valley, again, done nothing wrong so far this year.
Should be a cracker,
should be an absolute perler.
Yeah.
You'd probably lean to Happy Valley, being at their home ground.
You can get set with me. And that's the game of the day. You
On the radio, yep. That's
yeah.
the one. Well, we've got two this week, but we'll get on to the other one afterwards. But it's a big game. Cove coming off of what was a pretty bad year last year, really bubbling along quite nicely now.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting a really good game there.
Yeah.
Really good game.
I'll be there.
And Noarlunga, Port Noarlunga, is that also?
You'd probably tip Noarlunga at home.
Yeah.
Porties, we know Porties are going to struggle a little bit this year, but I think Noarlunga will be too strong for Porties in that particular game.
So we did give the Cobblers a fair bit of airplay, and they are sitting nice in second spot. But the team that sits in first spot, Ranella, of course, played Morphettvale 1v3. It is your game too. Tribe Radio will be on that one on Sunday.
On Sunday as well. Again, and it doesn't matter. It's like the old Port Norwood game, these two.
Yep.
They, no matter where they are on the premiership table, you can be rest. There'll be a huge crowd there. So get in early Sunday. It's at Morphettvale down at Wheatshift Road there. Both sides. Ranella up and about really early, and they've recruited well. Their biggest thing last year was a lack of some big man strength. Well, they went out and recruited very well in that department, and Morphettvale played really well for three and a bit quarters against Flaggies, but we also got to remember Ranella beat Flaggies in the first game of the season too. Yeah. So I'm leaning towards the black and whites, even though it is at Morphettvale.
All right. Hey, mate, it is a big week though. Umpire appreciation round this round.
Yes.
So what are we expecting? What, obviously we want to pat the umpires on the back. They're doing a great job. But when you say we've got an appreciation round, what does the Southern Footy League put in place for that?
Oh, look, what we'll do is make sure that the umpire gets due recognition prior to the game. So we'll get them to introduce themselves to all of the players on both sides of the ground, either in the change rooms or out on the field. So just make them feel comfortable in being at the game.
Don't they do that now? Don't they go into the rooms before the game now? They used to when I played. The umps would come in the rooms and say hello.
In the old days, they used to, Baz.
They don't do it anymore.
Sometimes some do, some don't.
Well, I think that's the way to go.
Well, exactly.
That's a terrific way to go.
And that's what we're trying to promote. They
would come in, they'd go along the line, they would make sure that you. Now I'm ageing myself a bit here, aren't I? The sprigs didn't have any nails sticking out and all that sort of thing. And you weren't allowed to have your rings and all that sort of stuff on. But they would come in and go along the line. How you going, boys? And I thought that was a good way to start the game. Was with the umps.
We might be doing something similar. We might be doing something similar to just bring back the human side of umpiring.
Well, I think they should do that at AFL level. Well, I think they do. I mean, I know they do it in boxing.
Or bring the umpire in to say good day.
No, the ref goes into the room. The ref goes into the room before the fight. And hey, boys, now when we get out there. So I just think it's a great thing if you're looking at Umpire Appreciation Week, and we should be appreciating them because there's a dearth of them at the moment, but I think that's a good way to go, is to let them go in the rooms before the game and there you go, boys.
Catch up for a quiet soda afterwards.
Please don't punch me.
No good for the side. Hey, mate, we always appreciate you giving me time to come in. It is going to be a ripping round in the Southern Footy League. It is umpire appreciation round, so need to get out there and support the umps. We can't play without them. I know occasionally we've all been frustrated by them, but they do a ripping job. Stay with us still. Plenty to come on the show.